Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much. I'll let you get settled. I'm Sarah Cahill-Lanigu, the editor-in-chief of Axios. Thank you so much. Welcome to Axios House. We're so glad you're here. I know we all have a very busy week ahead of ourselves, and what a way to kick it off than with us. So thank you so much for being here. We have great programming all week. If you haven't already, as you now know, you have to RSVP to get in to our events all week, and come early if you can. That's my pro tip for Axios House. But just let me give you a sneak peek of what we have in store beyond tonight for the lineup of our programming. This week we'll have OpenAI's Sam Altman here. We'll have Palantir's Alex Karp and leaders from MasterCard, Cisco, and Microsoft. That's just a few of the companies and names that you'll see here on the stage. And you can follow along. We really encourage you to follow us on all of the Axios socials. Search for our Axios events hashtag and find our full programming and schedule on our website, axios.com/events. Before we get started, I just want to thank a couple of people who made this possible tonight. I want to thank our partners, our editorial partners, the Female Quotient, and I want to thank Beyond, their global networking community for women. And the leader here, Vera Fuchuriansky, is here. Thank you so much for being here and for supporting us tonight. We really appreciate it. And without further ado, I want to bring to the stage our guest, Fawn Sharp. Come on up. Thank you. So glad you're here. All right. So for those who don't know Fawn, let me tell you a little bit about her. She's an amazing woman. She's the Indigenous co-chair of the World Economic Forum, the vice president of the Quinault Indian Nation, and the former president of the National Congress of American Indians. So Fawn, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
Last year, you gave an amazing speech here at WEF, and now I thought we could have, what a great time to have like this conversation, networking event with global leaders and women. And it seems like an interesting moment for Indigenous women in particular right now. Yes. You think about the visibility that we've seen. I'll just name a few women I can think of myself. You have Deb Haaland, the Secretary of the Interior. You have Kimberly Teehee. She's the first female delegate to the U.S. House from the Cherokee Nation. And even most recently, we saw Lily Gladstone win a Golden Globe, which was pretty amazing. So with that, I want to hear from you. What do you feel like Indigenous women are bringing to the table in terms of leadership? Where has her voice been still missing? And where do you feel like it's really contributed to the conversation?
Yes, excellent question. I think from my perspective, hearing many of our matriarchs over the years, I think our matriarchs have taught us that we have tremendous strength, resilience, and wisdom that we bring to the table. And one of my mentors is an elder named Ramona Bennett. She served as president of the Puyallup tribe, and she had 3 assassination attempts on her life during her presidency in the 1970s. And she is 90 years old. She's still an activist. She's still out serving her community. And this was in the 1970s. And so we have elders like that who really taught us that just the strength, the knowledge, the wisdom that we've had. And then we have young people. So we have a whole new generation of young Indigenous leaders. And when you think of people like Lily Gladstone and others who are now gaining visibility, they're able to tell our stories of all the challenges that we've had to go through as Indigenous people, all of the just outright having one of the most powerful countries on the planet try to terminate us. And, mass murder killed thousands of our ancestors, millions, and we're still here. And so I think we're at the point now where people are starting to understand the challenges facing Indigenous peoples, but also we are not weak and vulnerable. To the contrary, we're very strong, we're resilient, and those stories are coming through loud and clear. And so I think it is a really good time to stand on the legacy we've inherited from Indigenous leaders that have gone before us, the matriarchs, but also the next generation that's just shining so very brightly.
And that's so true to hear you talk about Indigenous culture, Indigenous values. How does that translate in terms of climate change? You know, you gave a really powerful speech on that topic last year. And I don't know if I'm part Native Hawaiian myself, so we've got 2 women of Indigenous background here on the stage. And, you know, one theme I know from my culture is about when you think about the world, you think about land and natural resources, there's, from the perspective of stewardship, guardianship is an incredible value. How do you see that being, Native voices addressing that issue this year?
Yes, in my meeting that we convened last year with Klaus Schwab the night before the week began, I heard him say that Indigenous peoples are the only people remaining on the planet that have a truly holistic view of all of the challenges facing our generation. And so when you look at people that have come to the World Economic Forum, the challenges that we are facing do require a holistic view. And Indigenous peoples have not only a holistic view, but that goes back generations. And so I think that's something that the world is starting to recognize, that we have that unbroken legacy that we've inherited. Thank you. We have that unbroken legacy that we've inherited, and it is so incredibly powerful to bring the spiritual connection that we have with the natural world. I've often said that the spiritual connection we have with all things living is something that, in the words of Chief Seattle, he said, what we do to the earth and the planet, we do to ourselves. We are just one strand in a very complex web of life. And so we value every relationship that we have as a very sacred relationship. And when I was just in Dubai, I heard an elder from Alaska talk about the salmon, and their salmon are disappearing. And she said, how do we adapt to the disappearance of the salmon when that represents part of our spirit? How do you adapt to losing part of your spirit? And it was so compelling. And all of us in the room, it just hit us hard because it really resonates. We have ceremonies with our salmon. We, weddings, coming of age ceremonies. And so all things are truly connected in our communities. And so that's a perspective that we can bring, because it's not only the spiritual connection, but it's the strength that's represented in that relationship of being a guardian of all things living.
Thank you for sharing that story. I have a smart brevity question for you.
Yes.
So on the topic of climate change, where do you see in the past year, since you gave that speech, which is not a lot of time when you talk about climate change, where do you see the most hope, and where do you feel like the progress needs to be more urgent?
Yes, where I see the most hope, I know that so many investors that are looking at climate solutions are wanting to know that if we make an investment in this area, there's going to be a nexus. There's going to be proven results. And I've heard investors say, we can't really invest in new pop-up entities. We need entities that have longevity. Well, Indigenous peoples have been doing this for millennia. And you know that we're going to value water as a sacred resource. You know we're going to restore salmon habitat. And so we want to create a gold standard for investing. So we know in the United States, with the Inflation Reduction Act, as epic as that was, it was $500 million. You divide $500 million among 574 tribal nations, it's less than $1 million. I have 2 villages in my community that I need to move to higher ground. That's $200 million. There is no way we're going to see that kind of funding anytime soon out of the United States Congress. So that demands public-private partnerships. And we know investors are now suing, boards for not managing their investment against climate risk. And so the world is desperately looking for solutions. How do we have solutions that are proven? And so we really want to open up opportunities to invest directly with Indigenous peoples. And that's something that we've been challenged. How do we gain access to development banks? How do we gain access to private capital? We don't have that direct line. In NGOs, they'll use our images. They'll take pictures, they'll get the funding, and then oftentimes they act against our interests or undermine our interests. And so the challenge really is there's a global opportunity of investment on real solutions, on solutions that are proven, timeless through the centuries. And so I think that's the best opportunity, and that's what we're here to do. And the colleagues that I've worked with, we know that we have just incredible solutions based on centuries of wisdom and knowledge, and we're excited to bring that to the world, and we're excited to make connections with those that really want to see their investment result in proven strategies in partnership directly with us.
And so would you put that in the like hopeful thing that
Yes.
you're seeing moving forward? Okay.
Very hopeful.
Okay.
Very hopeful and optimistic. And we have no other option. I mean, I've just looked around in our community. The idea that we're not going to achieve what we need to in this short period of time, I mean, we have a sense of urgency. We know that we're running out of time, and we know that we have all of this wisdom, and we just have to bring it to the table. And I'm confident that with a few relationships established, we're going to see an explosion of growth of companies investing and partnering with tribal nations. One of the things that we're bringing to the table this year is an opportunity for CEOs to come out to tribal nations. I mean, it's one thing for tribal leaders to come here to Davos, but it's another for CEOs and others to go out to tribal nations to see a river system from glacier to ocean with no development that's pure and clean and the way it's existed for centuries. And so we want to create those type of opportunities as well.
And have any of them taken you up on your offer, or is that TBD?
We're going to be doing that this week.
Oh, great. Okay,
Yes.
well, let's see. I can't wait to hear about how that goes. One final question I have. I've heard you speak before about you'd like to see even more Indigenous women, more women taking on leadership roles. What is holding them back?
Yes. I mean, I'll just be very candid. If my name was Frank Sharp, I would be different. My path would be much different. That works against us, but I also think it works to our advantage because, I mean, we have so many reasons to partner with other women. I mean, there's a common denominator challenge that we all face, and we bring that to the table. And so events like this, we're able to share that and be inspired, and not give up, and know that we have every opportunity. And it's just, there's a sisterhood, and I love going to other parts of the world, other countries, and we can have that same conversation, the same difficulties of the path that we've had to face. But we're all here with purpose and reason. And so I want to know that every time I confront things like that, I just have to be strong, courageous, and work through it, because there are little girls behind us watching us. And I want to make sure the next generation, each generation improves. And so, yes, there are challenges, they're there, but we also have just tremendous opportunity.
We'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your stories, for your perspective. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Fawn Sharp, everybody.
Thank you.